So I've been wondering how we can have the maximum effect on sustainability on the earth and little things that people haven't done or haven't looked into before. And I'm going to segue to this one. So the first thing is maybe 15 years ago I worked in the Netherlands, and I worked up here in North Holland, and in the lily bulb harvest. And the lilies were harvested and packed in peat, and then they were shipped off. The peat was, I guess, kind of a sterile thing that it was just a suitable material for packing them. But there's one little problem. The peat came from Lithuania or Latvia. I think it came from Latvia. So it was trucked or shipped from Latvia, which is up here, to the Netherlands. So if it was trucked, it came through Poland, through Germany, and into the Netherlands. And if it was shipped, it went through the Baltic Sea, round the top of Denmark, or through the Kiel Canal and onto the Netherlands. And then from the Netherlands, so Netherlands is here, it went by plane to Japan, or by plane to North America. So that peat really got a long travel. And in Canada now, if you're doing any type of gardening, the peat might come from somewhere like somewhere Ontario, Quebec, and I live in Victoria, so it gets shipped all the way across Canada. And it's one of the crazy little things we take for granted as gardeners. And I'll just go on now and try and explain myself further. We should try and get away from this moving fibres across the world for no good reason. So here is a shed I made from cob. So cob is a mixture of clay, sand and straw. And this little birdhouse was made by a lady called Ria, and it's pretty neat looking, and it was made from cob too. So cob is a versatile material. This is a little ornament, I guess, a little cob mouse that was made by my ex-wife. Here we go. Here's weeds. So these are weeds that we just throw in the compost bin in the rich countries. We don't even think about how, if we're really, lots of people still throw them in their garbage. Here's more weeds. I don't know which these were. The last ones were buttercup and morning glory, which are both pretty poisonous. More weeds. So last year I tried to use them, and what I did was I tried to ferment the weeds and grasses and make beer, and slugs didn't like it. The beer wasn't for me, it was for the slugs, and they didn't like it. Here I had to put a big rock on top of the plant material because it was bubbling so much that it was rising up and knocking the lid off my container, and it was supposed to be anaerobic in this case. So here I've mixed some ground up weeds with soil, and this is how I ground up the weeds. I was thinking maybe I should crush them in a mangle, but I don't have a mangle, so I ground them up with, this is an old meat grinder, and I made all sorts of different containers with the mixed soil and weeds together, and put them in little molds, and made all these with different strengths and different techniques. I rehed some. Retting means you just let it rot for 5 days, 7 days, 10 days. So totally trial and error, and phenomenal waste of time, etc. But here's some more that I made. Here's the very earliest ones which weren't a success. I tried lime in the mix. Here's some lettuce growing. Here's some cabbagey stuff growing in early. This is some more. These are beans. These are lettuce a bit later. The cabbagey stuff again that didn't work out that good. Here's more of them. I was just trying them out and seeing what would happen. So lots of strange things. Here's a very, very almost soilless mix which grew. I think there's some sort of squash. This is a French bean or bush bean that was grown in the block, and then the block was popped into a pot. The reason for using the blocks is to use up the plant material. This is actually ones that didn't work, but that's a watercress in it. More pictures of them, ones that were going good. So it's just a matter of trial and error. This is the little thing I use to make the blocks. And if you can think of a way of using the weed material maybe as a substitute, here's a very dry one. Here's some of the mix that went moldy. Here's another thing I was thinking you could make maybe the right mixes for cob with you could sort the soil and silt and the sand and silt and clay from subsoil with something like that. That's another little project that's potential. Oh, alrighty, I've got to close this down. And here's another project. Here we go. This is a bee, some sort of bumblebee. So here is a little birdhouse that's been in use for the little wren type birds. Just love this birdhouse. It's been in use for years. And here's a little bee. So in the winter the wrens are in it, and this summer these bees took it over and they made a total mess in it. I think they're potentially sick. They might have little bee disease. So here's another use for cob, was making these little holes in a block of cob. And the idea of this so here's the finished product with a bunch of holes for mason bees, and this is a wood block as a kind of control. And I think in this case I put them in the wrong place because it wasn't in warm place and the bees didn't go near it yet. They might still do it. This is a birdhouse thing where little shelf in a shed. So this is just thinking of things that people might not think of. This is another birdhouse thing. And that's the end of the little thing. I'm just asking, do you think any of these has potential, or maybe if you'd like to try, maybe the soil blocking thing without using peat and but soil blocks are useful because they don't use plastic, or you save on plastic pots, and but you're still using the peat. So if you could do it with use your local weed material or plant material and get the fibre from them for your soil blocks, maybe eventually we're on to something that's a little more sustainable than what we do now. Thank you.